What's up, Airsofters? These bad boys are the Helios Knights Armament Company SR-16E Mod2 AEGs, brought to you by EMG. Before we get into what makes these bad boys so cool, let's talk a little bit about Knights Armament, since these are Knights Armament SR-16Es. Now, Knights Armament Company is a really well-known firearms manufacturer based in America that has been in operation since about the 1980s. They produced some legendary firearms and weapon systems like the SR-25, the Knights Armament PDW, and of course the Stoner LMG, all of which have AEG counterparts in Airsoft and are available right here at Evike.com. In addition, they're also true innovators in rail interface systems or rail attachment systems. In fact, the RIS, which is used to this day on many weapon systems, in some form or another influenced most modern handguards, like these M-LOK equipped versions we have right in front of us. Odds are you have tactical rails on your Airsoft guns, and the Knights Armament Company played a huge role in making that happen. Knights Armament is all about superior performance and quality, and anything with their name on it is held to a really high standard of quality. And that is absolutely true here on the Helios SR-16E Mod2 AEGs. Now that we've gotten a little backstory on what makes Knights Armament such a cool brand, let's talk about Helios by EMG. Now, the Helios brand solves a lot of the problems that many airsofters face when choosing to play airsoft, having to decide between spending most of their budget on just a weapons platform or most of their budget on just gear, or sacrificing design for performance. The Helios brand gives you a bunch of AEGs that keep the weight down with polymer construction, but the performance up, and ultimately giving you a lot of bang for your buck that won't break the bank. The Helios Knights Armament SR-16E Mod2s are the first release in the Helios lineup of AEG products. Battery storage compartment is standard for a rear wired M4 AEG. It's going to go in the buffer tube. You'll find the wiring there. Simply removing the retractable stock by pulling down on this adjustment will allow you to slide the stock completely off and gain access to that battery compartment. At the time of this recording, the battery connectors are small type Tamiya. Just above all that, you'll notice you have the dummy bolt catch. Now, the bolt catch does not function on these, so adjusting your hop up, you'll need to make sure that you're still holding your charging handle back. This uses a rotary style hop up, which is really easy to set and is stiff enough that it doesn't lose that adjustment. Speaking of upgrades, the gearbox is a standard version 2 gearbox, which is based on the Amoeba system, making it compatible with the EFCS gearbox programming box. But let's do a breakdown and find out all about it. Taking a look at the internals of the version 2 gearbox of the SR-16E Mod2, we immediately see that this is the ARES Amoeba system, which is well known for being very durable, very reliable, and really giving you a nice performance right out of the box. The quick change spring system gives you a great way to swap between FPS, depending on whether you're playing indoor or outdoor. Opening it up, we see that there is some reinforcement at the front. You'll notice that there's a Type 0 cylinder, meaning that it's non-ported. That can explain why we're seeing 400 FPS. Again, because of the quick change spring guide system, you'll be able to change that for a lower FPS, or simply introduce a ported cylinder if you feel like that's the better way to go for you. The polymer piston has full metal teeth, and you'll notice the second tooth is removed. It's also attached to a ported piston head. There is a single O-ring on the cylinder head and no O-ring on the nozzle. And you'll notice the 8mm bushings, which increase wear resistance. Down by the gears, you'll notice there's a selector delay cam, as well as a Hall sensor, which is how it knows how to perform its active braking and to assist with the programming of the EFCS system. Speaking of EFCS, you'll notice the electronic trigger. Now that trigger is really snappy and very nice right out of the box. Additionally, you can program different burst settings and different fire control options into this system by purchasing the EFCS programming box separately. We're down here in our impromptu range. As you can see, we're not in our usual testing range, and that's because it is being reconstructed with some really cool new features. The whole thing's gonna look awesome. If you're seeing this video late, come on into the store and try out the new shooting range. If you're seeing it this week, the shooting range is currently closed, but it'll be open soon. As you're familiar, upstairs we were talking about the Knights Armament SR-16 EMG Helios. This features the polymer body. We were talking about some of the features that we discussed upstairs, like the ambidextrous features, are really on display here down at the range. Whether I'm shooting it right-handed or transitioning to left hand, I have control over the fire selector controls, which is really, really nice. Other things I like: the magazine release that can be operated by right and left-handed shooters. The select fire switch can be rotated to either side, and I like that the cut is provided, so even when you are resting your trigger finger, you're not getting over top of your select fire switch. Again, really nice features that are right at home on a Knights Armament build like this. I like the lightweight aspect of it. Polymer bodies really have come a long way, and they're far more durable than people, I think, give them credit for. One increased level of durability they've done on this polymer receiver is the metal insert at the front of the receiver, really helping negate any issues with body cracking if you drop it and things like that. Of course, you still do have the full metal M-LOK front end, which I've attached a couple accessories like a hand stop and one of our PEQ style laser pointers up top. I've got a red dot sight that's been zeroed to the rifle, as well as my multi-position stock. Couple of the included features, including this pistol grip, motor grip, as well as the multi-position retractable stock, are really comfortable. You might notice them from some other ARES rifles, and that's because the Stoner SR-16 from EMG Helios is compatible with the EFCS gearbox, controls, that programming box, and you get the same amount of reliability and performance out of it. Once again, super accurate, but let's get a little farther away and see how it does. As you can see, we've moved about 10 feet further into our testing range to get a target that's about 20 feet away. This is a CQB length M4. The M4 controls work great in CQB environments, and at CQB distances, I wanted to get a better idea of how this is going to be performing. Yes, of course you can shoot longer distances, and in Airsoft you often do, but for this barrel length, I think you'll find yourself most often in room clearing situations, at mount facilities, CQBs, CQB engagements, and at your standard Airsoft field, where engagements can get around 20 feet. So let's give it a try, just snap firing it. Overall, really, really easy to acquire a target, and when shouldered, it's really easy to do follow-up shots. Even without an attached red dot, the factory sights and even, kind of muscle memory sighting this, it's really easy to get repeatable shots with accuracy. So for a body-sized target, even a can-sized target at 20 feet, you've got tons of accuracy right out of the box. It is worth noting that right out of the box, it does come with Knights Armament micro flip-up sights. Now, this completes the look, and they're really cool looking, but they are non-adjustable. So a platform like this really does benefit from a red dot sight or swapping out to an adjustable set of sights. Naturally, because we're not in our standard shooting range, our precision and accuracy test is going to be a little different from normal. But I thought setting up one of our EMG IPSC or IDPA sized standard targets would be a good way to test the grouping at a known distance. At 35 feet, we're going to fire 10 shots, see how tight that grouping is. Again, this isn't so much about accuracy. I'm not aiming necessarily for the A. I just want to make sure that all my shots are consistent, which is going to guarantee you performance on the field. Let's give it a try. Let's give it a look. Now, while we're walking, I did want to mention one more thing. One of the most useful features on an AEG is the ability to attach a sling. I've been to so many Airsoft games where I have to do something other than shoot at somebody, like pick up a box or have to do something. And the inclusion of sling attachment points is huge on an Airsoft gun. Speaking of, we've got a QD sling mount point on the handguard and a QD sling mount point on the rear just in front of the buffer extension. It's ambidextrous, can be used on either side, on both sides of the platform. So no matter whether you're a lefty or a righty, you have a way to attach a sling very, very quickly. Let's look at the target. So as you can see, out of my 10 shots, they're all grouped within the center section or A zone on this target. And at 35 feet, that's pretty indicative of the results that you're going to be seeing at 35 feet, 50 feet, so on and so forth. So at the standard range you'll be using this AEG, that's a really nice grouping right out of the box. Now that we've gotten an idea of what it'll do on semi-auto with well-timed shots, let's head back to that cone and do some full auto fire. For this one, I think we'll go lefty. Again, I can drop the magazine with either my right hand or my left hand. Let's go look at the target. Again, something I find really impressive here is the fact that even on full auto, your grouping remains tight. Granted, this is at 35 feet, and understandably that grouping will grow as you shoot farther away. But for an AEG right out of the box that hasn't had any barrel cleaning, really just kind of aiming as I've sighted basically a red dot, I'm getting a really tight 3 to 4 inch grouping on full auto for an entire magazine. That's impressive. We're gonna go ahead and do our chrono test. It is worth noting that we're chronoing this with 0.20 gram BBs. For indoor, 2.0s are great. For outdoor, we recommend stepping up to a 2.5 or even a 2.8 if that's your flavor. But we're gonna chrono it on 2.0s. Also worth noting, there is a quick change spring guide like we discussed in the features. So if this is shooting too hot for you right out of the box, you can definitely change out the spring very easily to a lower FPS, giving you a much wider range of use. It's real easy to do, and springs are really affordable. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Now this is chronoing just over 400 right out of the box. As you use it, the spring will settle a little bit and you'll get a little bit of an FPS drop right to the 400 mark. But again, if you're using this indoor, you might want to drop to 350 by using that quick change spring guide. Let's see what our rate of fire is. Now that is a really nice 16 rounds per second with an 11.1 volt lithium polymer battery. We're going to attempt to do our sound test. Being outdoors, it's going to be a little bit difficult with all of the ambient noise, but bear with us. We're going to give you a sound at the receiver and a sound at the muzzle. Let's give it a shot. Remember to wind your mags. It comes with a winding high cap. Okay, let's hear what it sounds like at the muzzle. You know, as I fire this, one thing that really stands out to me is how nice and sensitive that trigger is. An electronic trigger really gives you a really snappy, nice firing trigger that really feels comfortable in the hand. As you pull the trigger, you'll notice how little resistance there is, which gives you a really nice opportunity to get a lot of shots off quickly. Let's demonstrate. See how lightly I can touch the trigger? So it's about 2 millimeters of take up and then the snap to fire. It's really, really nice to shoot. So after taking a look at the internals, playing with it outside, and getting a really good look at everything going on with the Helios Armament SR-16E Mod2, you certainly get a lot of performance and lightweight in a package that doesn't break the bank, giving you more options when it comes to your airsoft loadout, so you can spend more in other places and really put your ideal collection together. To find out more information about these two bad boys, check them out right here on our website at Evike.com. And to find out more about future Helios releases, make sure you stay tuned to our social media. If you like the reviews we're doing here at Evike.com, please click that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be notified of when we release new videos. And feel free to follow us on our other social media like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks, guys. See you later.